ये है Ideas of India.
Welcome to the session. We're supposed to be discussing the next election. So I'm going to stand actually, because I think the energy is wrong when people sit. I'm going to ask you the obvious question. How much are you going to win by, Vinay?
How much?
How much are you going to win by, Vinayji, in the next election?
Well,
how much is the BJP going to win by?
most certainly more than 300. 370 is the target.
NDA or BJP?
No, BJP I am saying.
More than 300?
Yeah.
Okay. And how much do you think the Congress will get?
Well, I won't hazard a guess because he better knows the situation.
No, I'll ask him, but I want your opinion.
I wish him a good luck. That's it.
All right. No doubt you wish him good luck too.
He doesn't seem to need it. I think one of the great strengths we have is the complacency of the BJP in this election. They seem to think it's already a done deal, and it isn't.
Well, I think the Prime Minister has already announced what he will do in his third term. So in their mind, there's no doubt at all. But in your mind, is there any doubt that they'll get more than 300 seats?
Yes, there's a great amount of doubt that they will come anywhere close to what they're projecting, and I'll tell you why.
Why?
First and foremost is they did too well in 2019, right across the Hindi heartland, the belt where they're strong. And even if there is a wave of enthusiasm after the Ram Mandir and so on, their percentage of votes may go up, but there are no seats left to win, practically many of these places. Last time, they won every seat in Haryana, every seat in Rajasthan, all but one seat in Madhya Pradesh, all but one seat in Karnataka, a large number of seats in Maharashtra, Bihar, and Bengal. All of this is not going to happen this time.
Okay.
Because it's impossible for them to repeat those numbers once
again. So
you
think they've already peaked?
I think they peaked in 2019. We're going to see nothing but a downhill slide. How much downhill that's going to be depends on how effective the opposition's campaign is, which is just picking up. Of course, the election hasn't been called yet, so we don't know how much time the opposition will have, and I think the story will vary from state to state. But I'm urging people, don't give up on the opposition, because the opposition may be your next government.
You really believe that, Shashi?
Of course.
Okay, all right, okay.
Vinay,
you were going to say something.
Well, I think, imagination has no limit. And therefore, I don't mind if he really imagines that it is going to happen. But as we observe today, as we experience, not just observe, what India is witnessing today, and not just witnessing, I would say experiencing today, all the Indians, is the democracy of aspirations. There is optimism all around, and people really want to take this country into the era of Vikasit Bharat as envisioned by Prime Minister Narendra Modi.
Right.
And therefore,
fair enough. He's certainly very optimistic, but he's optimistic about himself, not about your India.
No, I'm optimistic about Indians in general. And
but his point is that Prime Minister Modi and his party has created an aspirational India, an India where people think anything is possible. They believe that by voting for the BJP, they will help perpetuate this India. He's suggesting that you are therefore out of tune with the times. That's roughly correct.
No, you're talking in generalities. Of course, we all want to Vikasit India, we all want prosperity, but break it down. Why would a young man who voted for Mr. Modi twice in the hope it was going to get him a job, vote for him a third time when he still doesn't have a job? Our unemployment has been going up right through the country. And sadly speaking, youth unemployment in particular, those between 20 and 24 are looking at 45.4% unemployment. Now, in this kind of situation, you can speak about aspirational India and everyone wants development, but if you get people to think in terms of their own self-interest, you'll get a very different answer. Can the average person, since COVID, actually afford the things that he was able to afford 2 years ago at the bazaar? I've asked people.
Give me an example of something people can't afford that they could afford earlier.
You name it. Literally, the most basic consumer items, including, of course, the famous tomatoes and onions analogy. You used to go to the bazaar and buy a certain amount for your food. Now it costs more and you might not be able to afford it because your salary hasn't gone up if you still have a salary. So these are the realities that a vast majority of Indians are facing. And I think, frankly, the media is overlooking this. You're all focused on other issues, big headline issues, and I can understand and forgive that. But when it comes to what people are going to vote on the basis of, it can't just be woolly-headed slogans and generalities. It's got to be about the nitty-gritty of their lives. And believe me, other than maybe people in a room like this, for many, many people right across India, including in places where the BJP has been strong, reality hurts. It doesn't exactly shine.
Vinay, he's made 2 points. One is youth unemployment. The second is the cost of living has gone up more than real income. And he's given, say, the pre-COVID period as a baseline. So say things you could afford in 2019, you can't afford any longer. And we go on about aspirational India, etc., but we're ignoring the economic reality that stares people in the face. How do you respond to that?
Well, I think challenges are already there. We are not saying that there are no challenges. When nation moves ahead, transforms, new things definitely come up, and with new things, there are new challenges as well. And we have been living with these challenges, and happily, this government has come out with n number of welfare programs which are providing a kind of a cushioning to the people who are really facing the heat of whether it is price rise or a little bit of unemployment as well. I would say that unemployment certainly has been there, and that is not something new. That has not been, that is not something which is the creation of this government. It was already there. But we have provided multiple opportunities for entrepreneurship, startups. Tell me, where was the scheme like Mudra earlier? Why could it not have been conceived by the previous governments? Tell me, why have we been ignoring all the Vishwakarmas? Only yesterday there was the Vishwakarma Jayanti, and we observed it and we celebrated it because the government has now come up with a welfare program for all the Vishwakarmas, all the artisans, hawkers. Tell me, when was hawkers and their issues that came on the table for discussion in the Niti Aayog or in the high echelons of the government? So we have taken practically care of every other section of the society, which is why people who are also appreciative of the challenges that the Indian economy is facing, but they are supporting this government, and for the only reason that our challenges, we are conscious about it, and our intentions, people are aware that there need not be any doubt about our intentions. That is the first and foremost.
He's trying to respond, so go ahead.
No, I mean, I think, look, frankly, this question of intentions is not entirely the issue, because the truth is, you can have good intentions and implement them badly, or fail to implement them because of the challenges you mentioned, Vinayji. The truth is that if you think of the vast majority of Indians, their experience is not the experience of those who have prospered. How many people have started startups? And do you know that startups have laid off more people than they've hired in the last 2 years? We are looking at a crisis. Even the funding of startups has gone down colossally, as I pointed out in my budget speech in Parliament. You can say, yes, the Mudra scheme was not thought of earlier. We can say, we came after 10 years of your 6 years of your government, and you had not thought of Manrega. You had not thought of a right to information. You had not thought of right to education, food security. There are many issues that we also came up with that you didn't have. So we can trade these things. I don't want to do that tu meme. The real issue is the future. There I agree with you. We are an aspirational country. We must be. I was saying this even before I entered into politics. We must. I mean, I gave an interview years ago in which I said, look, I've been living abroad with the Indian diaspora when I was working for the UN. I said the only country where Indians are not thriving seems to be India. What's holding them back? Everywhere they go, they're absolutely successful. Indians have that willingness to work hard, to strive, to create, to take risks, to deliver results. But somehow in India, we've held them back. Now, what we need to do is lift those restrictions guaranteed. And startups is one way, and Mudra loans are another way, and you can come up with some other examples, but we haven't delivered yet. The kind of complacency I see from your party, Vinayji, suggesting that everything is on the march, it's very good rhetoric, but it's not reflective of the lives of ordinary people. And I'm alarmed particularly about our young people, because literally 15 years ago I had pointed out that educating and skilling our young is not just a socio-economic issue, it is a national security issue. There is nothing more dangerous for the future of India than legions of unemployed young men, particularly men, but also young people. Now, the sad truth is, this is where we fail. We talk about skill India and skill development and so on. What have we, 10 years ago, you inherited a country with 2.3% of the workforce skilled. Today, it's 2.4%. We are in a position where we have not risen to the real challenges facing our country. I agree with the rhetoric, I agree with the objectives, I agree with the intentions. I am frustrated and disappointed by the reality, and I think at some point that's going to come back and bite you.
Shashi, I'm going to ask you the obvious question. Let's assume for a moment that everything you're saying is correct, and people feel this and Indians are not thriving. Why is this not reflecting in election results? Why does your party keep losing in that case? Why does this party keep winning?
Look, politics is about both ideas, policies, issues on the one hand, and about being able to deliver them to the electorate in a way that gets out the results. And I would agree that in the last couple of elections, the BJP has been better than us at the last mile of reaching every voter, knocking on doors. Their Panna Prabhari system, their bringing people to the polling booths has been better than ours. They've also been far better funded, and there's been more manpower available to them than to us, which is not an excuse. It merely is an observation. It's a fact. Even in my own constituency, where the BJP came second the last two times, but where they lost, they would have outspent me by a factor of 5 or 10 times. And they would have also had that many more people making that many more visits to the voters. And I admire them for that. I mean, that's what an organizational vehicle needs to do. But that alone is not enough. You also, you can keep buying a package once, twice. A third time you're going to say, but there's nothing inside this package. How is my life improved? How is my family's life improved?
Okay.
And there'll be a very thin sliver of Indians for whom
things have got better.
Absolutely.
Okay. Vinayji, this is a common Congress position, which is that one reason why you guys do so well is because A, you have 5 times as much money as everyone else. B, you're brilliantly organized. You run much better campaigns. You manage to get voters to the booths. They can't do that. Is that all there is to it?
No, I think it is, a left-hand compliment coming from Mr. Shashi Tharoor.
Yeah.
I would expect him to be a little more gracious to say that, yes, your party is delivering. See, everybody was talking about democracy earlier as well.
Yeah.
But what Prime Minister Modi has done is that he has ensured that democracy eventually delivers. Mr. Tharoor must be knowing, there is a very great scientist at the Kennedy School of Government, Dr. Pippa Norris, and she has come out with a unified theory. She is a political scientist of great repute. She said that only liberal values are not going to take us anywhere. Along with liberal democracy, you have to have a very efficient delivery mechanism, and I believe Prime Minister Modi has ensured that. When people in India were a little disillusioned about the idea of democracy in the early part of this century, especially between 2004 and 2014, then...
i.e. the UPA period.
Yeah, of course.
Okay, all right,
but thereafter, whatever, the entire mechanism, लोगों को जो लगा था कि ये चल ही नहीं सकता, Prime Minister Modi has ensured and he has rekindled the confidence that yes, democracy can deliver. और उसके कारण जो परिवर्तन आया है लोगों के जीवन में, अभी आप राशन दुकान पर जाइए, पूछिए राशन दुकान के मालिक को कि क्या राशन सही वक्त में आता है और क्या लोगों को मिलता है, जिनको जरूरी है उनको मिलता है या नहीं है. And now there is a mechanism. The whole technological setup is now there that only those who are deserving should get the ration and not all others. Those who are not deserving, they need not be getting it. All these bottlenecks which were there earlier,
you've removed them. Yeah. All right, Shashi, quickly, because then I'm going to throw this open to the audience.
No, I'm not at all disagreeing with this, but given the fact that we also instituted a number of these things which your government very wisely continued with despite having criticized them when they were instituted. Manrega is a great example, even after the 2014 election.
No, but we have improvised Manrega.
Modi
we have improvised Manrega. आपके ज़माने में गड्ढा खोलो और गड्ढा भरो, यही चलता था. Now there is a mechanism by way of which we are creating places of public utility. ग्राम पंचायत के भवन बन रहे, utilities बन रही है, बहुत सारे समाज मंदिर बन रहे. So लोगों की क्षमता, उनके परिश्रम और सरकार का धन, इसका सही अर्थ में विनियोग होने का रास्ता जो आप भी बना सकते थे, मगर आपने बनाया नहीं.
हम तो मनरेगा को शुरू किए. It was developing. What would have evolved under you would have evolved under us. We started the direct benefit transfer system.
Shashi ji,
I was in the
you are in
education
Maharashtra. In Marathi language, there is a very popular term which is called as Arambha Shur. So आप आरंभ तो सारी चीजों का अच्छे करते हैं, but you never ensure that they go to the logical end.
लेकिन मौका आपको मिला.
Okay, okay.
मौका आपको मिला ये करने के लिए.
अच्छा.
Let me, no, but seriously.
Let me throw
this transfer. BJP gave it the name Jan Dhan, but it was exactly the same thing.
Vinay, it's a common criticism that you took their programs and you started calling them after Deen Dayal Upadhyay, Savarkar, but basically same programs, new names. Is that fair?
See, there are
name-changing government, not a game-changing.
I can give you dozens of examples of innovative projects which were initiated by Prime Minister Narendra Modi during his last 10-year tenure.
Okay.
As I was talking about Swanidhi, which is for the hawkers, or as I was talking about the Ujala scheme, which is using the LED bulbs, which are a great power savior, or the new scheme which the government has launched for solar energy. Were these rocket sciences? Certainly not. But there was no application of mind. There was no genuine concern. There was no confidence that we can make it happen. Since all of these things are now together, we have been able to not just announce the schemes, but make them deliver. Here is a Prime Minister who also conducts the Bhumi Pujan and who also conducts the inauguration. I'm sure you will agree.
Okay, I'm going to throw this. You guys will continue to wrong forever. I have to throw this open to the audience.
Let's open it.
Okay, the style for a question is you wait till I identify you, then you get up, somebody gives you a microphone, and you tell us who you are, then you ask your question. Okay, somebody that has a microphone, Shashi says, go ahead, tell us who you are.
Yeah, hi, I'm Shivratan. I'm an automotive engineer, work for automated driving.
Okay.
I am born and brought up in Mumbai, and I want to take an aspect which is absolutely, digress from development, but talking about security of India.
Yeah.
So I'm a 90s kid, and we had kind of a psychology that every 3-4 years, there will be an attack in Mumbai, and we have to live with it. Coincidentally, since 2014, I'm in 2024, 10 years, there has been no attack in Mumbai. Is it a coincidence? Just wanted to put across that question.
Okay.
Thank you.
That's a good question. You have to concede that there have been no terrorist attacks on the scale of the Bombay attacks that he's referring to, at least during this term of Parliament.
Yeah.
And not only that, we actually seem to have gone out and killed the terrorists, if you want, in other people's countries.
Fully agreed, except for one thing, which is that, I'm not going to use the word coincidence, but it has happened to coincide with a completely different Pakistan from the one that was successfully able to inflict terror on us during both BJP governments and our governments and United Front governments. And why was it Pakistan different? Because of their internal problems. Partially because of their having encouraged militancy, they've now had the rise of the so-called Pakistan Taliban, which has tied up their army in knots. They've had a restive border on the western side as well, which has slightly distracted them from the eastern side. And as a result, we have a Pakistan that actually at one point wanted to make peace with us rather than send us militants. That happened to coincide with the current government. So if you want me to say that the NDA government has been lucky in everything from the way in which the oil price dropped from the UPA days to the way in which the Pakistan situation became a mess for Pakistan and therefore more peaceful for us, I'm willing to say they're lucky, I'm willing to say we're lucky. But the fact still is that you can't just say it's because of the government unless you can give me 10 steps that this government took that has made us more secure. They haven't. These are circumstances coming from outside and beyond the control of the government.
All right. Somebody else with a question? Gentleman here in the front row. Okay, you got it.
Hi, my name is Satya.
Okay, we'll do you first, we'll do you second.
Okay,
yeah.
Right. I'll add on to what he said. I think forget any attack. I think we didn't have a Hindu-Muslim riot after that. Never. I mean, small ones, but never had it. And my question to Shashi is, with all your colleagues coming into the BJP fold, are you coming first? And secondly, we all love you, and many major of Indians love you, but not the current Congress disposition which is there. And my main question is, what's your take on Congress? How much seats will they get?
Okay. So what are you saying? You're saying you love him, but you would love him more. You would love him
current,
more if he was in the BJP.
Current setup of Congress really,
yeah. Okay. Yeah. Okay. Just you're not moving, right?
No, I don't think you
and
need
this
to
wrong man, this right man in the wrong party argument.
I've heard. I mean, I'm sort of grateful for the kind words, first of all. But secondly, when you mention things like Hindu-Muslim rights, that's precisely one of the reasons I can't move in your direction, is precisely because we have witnessed in the last 10 years a communalization of political discourse that makes me deeply ashamed. I'm hearing things being said from public platforms that when I grew up in Mumbai, would not have been expressed behind closed doors in somebody's house. That's the kind of bigotry and communalism that has now become acceptable. This country will not prosper by otherizing any minorities. Because at some point, all it will take you is 1% of these people to say, the hell with it, we have no stake in this country, let's blow it up, and then all your complacency about Hindu-Muslim riots will be over. I'm not inviting them to do that. I'm inviting our government to say, for God's sake, embrace everybody. Say that when you used to attack the Congress for being quote-unquote pseudo-secular, then be truly secular and stop demonizing people because of their faith or any other attribute into which they were born.
Okay. I have a point here.
Somebody else.
If I may make a small point in response to this question.
Yeah.
I totally disagree with Shashi ji.
Why am I not surprised?
In the context of otherization.
Okay.
See, this otherization, who brought in, it was right from the day of independence. Congress always thought of उनको क्या लगेगा, हम अगर common civil code लाएंगे, उनको क्या लगेगा, 370 लाएंगे, उनको क्या लगेगा, अरे उनको क्या, वो उन नहीं है, वो हमारे में से ही है. So there is no otherization from our side. It was you who initiated this otherization and you put them in a different bracket. We consider them as equally patriotic as all of us. और इसलिए वो कोई विषय ही नहीं है. There is no otherization at all.
Which is why you have so many Muslims as BJP MPs in Parliament.
That's a very fair point.
Okay,
we'll take somebody. Sir, that has not had anybody from the Muslims.
Go on.
Yeah, good afternoon, sir. My name is Captain Amresh Jha, and I'm from shipping industry. Basically, this question is for Mr. Tharoor. During the COVID, when whole world was stopped, Vizhingham came as a, of course, Cochin was definitely giving a solution for a crew change. And I would like to also give this information to August audience. India was the first country.
Do you have a question? If
Yes,
you have
sir.
a question, ask it right now.
Sir,
No speeches. Yeah.
Vizhingham Port, the crew change has been stopped after the COVID protocol has been lifted up. Do you see this coming up? Because the strategic location that Vizhingham has got very least deviation if the ships is coming from Singapore to going to Dubai, UAE, or vice versa. And if it is going to Cochin and all, there is 4 or 5 hours of deviation.
Exactly.
So for owners, it is a very practical and very convenient to do the crew change.
Got it.
Do you see it is coming up?
It
I
was
think
a
he's got it.
decision made
Quick
by this
answer.
government, not by the port authorities or by my... Vizhingham, by the way, is a port in my constituency, which I was partly responsible for trying to get developed, so I'm very grateful for the question. But I will say, I wrote to the minister a year ago, saying that crew change must be restored, that it is absolutely indispensable also for the viability of the port, plus it is necessary because of the convenience of the ships. This port is just 8 nautical miles off the international shipping lanes, much closer than Colombo. It is, at the same time, a port with 24 meters of undredged natural depth. It's a gem of a port. India should have developed it a long time ago. I'm very proud we developed it. The problem we have now is a port which could be the center of container shipping into India, transshipment, which is now taking place mainly in places like Colombo and Dubai and Singapore. If we could do that in India, it would be fantastic for the country. Why is the government taking negative decisions that are undermining the port? I don't know. I'm still waiting for a reply to a letter I wrote a year ago asking for crew change to be restored. I tried to take it up in Parliament. My question didn't have a chance to come up. It will be one I'll pursue, Captain Shah. Thank you for your question.
Somebody from this side of the room with a question? There's a gentleman there with a hand up. Can we give him a microphone, please? That's what, okay, I can't see very well. Hello? Can whoever's got a microphone give it to the person? Just wave a lot so they can see you. Yeah. Okay, that's a person. Yeah. Have you got a mic now?
Hi. Thank you for that very stimulating discussion. I just want to echo what I heard a lot of people say over the years. It's not that Modi is the best person to run the country, but the question is who else? My question to you, sir, now that we have Ekta Mein Bal and therefore the India Alliance, if the India Alliance does come to power, who's going to be the Prime Minister of the country then?
Look, I mean, first of all, your first statement, if I may point out, would make a lot more sense in a presidential system than in the parliamentary system we have. And the parliamentary system is one where the only people in this country who can vote for Mr. Modi are the voters of Varanasi. Everyone else votes for their local representative for his or her competence, ability, as well as the party to which they belong. At the end of the day, the parliamentary majority chooses a prime minister. That's the logic of the system. Now, in the case of an alliance like the India Alliance, there will be a number of parties involved, and undoubtedly they'll have to sort it out amongst themselves after the election. Did any one of us expect to see Mr. Devagowda as Prime Minister in '96? Did any one of us expect to see Mr. Gujral as Prime Minister in '97? For that matter, did even Dr. Manmohan Singh expect to become Prime Minister in 2004 when he ran? The system is one where anyone can come up. The individual is not what matters.
Yeah,
we had a slogan in 2014.
Shashi, all that is right.
Which
Well,
is,
you know what his question is.
I know what his question is.
His question is
I'm
Rahul
giving
Gandhi
you
a
the-
Prime Minister candidate or not? That's basically the question.
The Congress party has not declared any individual as a candidate. I think it's very clear that he is the most popular leader within the party establishment. At the same time, at the end of the day, there will be a negotiation amongst various parties, and it will be foolish of anyone to prejudge how that negotiation would go.
Vinayji, is this convincing? You think they'll be able to, assuming they come to power, they'll be able to agree on a prime ministerial candidate, or they'll just fight each other? Kya lagta hai aapko?
The way a single sentence answer he converted into a master class on political science, I think speaks volumes, because there is really speaking, and I sympathize with him. He doesn't have the answer, and quite understandably so.
All right. Okay.
But look, in 2014, we had a great slogan, Veer, which was "Main nahi hum." And that is the difference between us. We have a party that says meh, meh, meh every time, and we have a party that says hum. A number of leaders with collective experience will come and listen to the public and work with them to solve their problem.
All right. Last question. We have 2 minutes left. Somebody from the middle who hasn't got a chance to ask a question? No? There was a lady, Shashi said, who had her hand up. Ma'am, could you please stand up and we'll get you a microphone?
She seems to have gone quite.
Hi, I'm Shantanu Gupta. I'm a law student of GLC Mumbai. I had a question as elections are coming up. So what either of your parties and either of you think about the decision of Supreme Court on electoral bonds?
Okay. I'm going to ask Vinayji to. The electoral bond decision, what do you think?
Well, several government decisions, as it happens, are open for judicial scrutiny, and the judiciary has given its verdict and we have accepted it, although the original intention behind this entire scheme was, in fact, bringing transparency and accountability. But that is not acceptable to the court, so we have accepted that.
Okay, fair enough.
Where is the transparency in bonds where you can remain anonymous? Frankly, it appears that 90% of the bonds went to one particular party. I think the Supreme Court judgment was absolutely fair and just, and was widely applauded across the country. But the problem is for many, many years, the damage was already done, and frankly, people have faced the results on the ground with a very, very well-funded party facing a lot of less well-funded parties.
As a view, you face that, right?
Absolutely.
Okay. I think we can do one more. So, everybody's asking from this side. We still can't find the lady who Shashi had identified who had a question? All right. Okay. Give a microphone to the first person.
Thank you, sir. I'm Professor Suresh. I really appreciate to the Vinayji, sir. Sir, I would like to just ask one question very shortly. Sir, what is the idea of India regarding the youths? Thank you, sir.
Okay. Quick answers from both of you. His view, we already know, is that the youth are unemployed and frustrated. Your view is that they have aspirations. So quick summaries of both those.
Well, India free from nepotism, free from corruption, free from terrorism, I think is the idea of India for the youth, because the youth and his entire future is invested in this idea of India, which all of us have created. It is not just the creation of any particular individual, it is the society of India, and therefore I believe these are the three important segments: a corruption-free, nepotism and dynastic politics-free country, and that kind of a democracy is something which every youth would like to see for his own future.
That's a sharp, succinct answer, Shashi.
Look, I have no difficulty with that answer of Vinayji's, because the truth is that we all want those objectives. Have they been realized? I don't believe they have. I don't believe that in the experience of many people, especially in Mumbai, I've spoken to many business people who tell me that their experience with corruption is no better than it used to be, perhaps in some respects worse. So we are facing challenges. I believe what young people want is some meaning in their lives, a job, the prospect of improving their circumstances, and the ability indeed to dream of something better for themselves and one day for their families and so on. They don't have that in a country which denies them the opportunity to work and to fulfill their dreams, and that's what's going to be our priority: jobs, jobs, jobs.
Okay. Last question to the audience. How many of you think the opposition stands a chance in the next election? Put your hands up. Not a lot. Okay. Well, everybody, if I'd asked you the same question in 2004, you would have said the BJP was winning by a landslide, and we know that didn't happen. So politics is the art of the possible. Thank you both. Thank you so much. Thank you.
Thank you.
Can I have one small comment, Veer,
Of
if
course,
you allow?
of course.
To
Please
the
go ahead.
organizers, I mean, when you have this kind of a debate,
Yeah.
let it not start with some kind of doubting Thomases describing the very subject title, well, whether democracy will win. Arey boss, democracy will absolutely win. This country is basically a spiritual democracy, which is why we have successfully experimented with parliamentary and political democracy. So let there be no doubt at all, the democracy is going to win, because India and democracy are synonymous.
I think Sunil Khilnani referred to that as his last
Yeah, and I'd love to believe that, and Vinayji knows that, elections alone do not make a democracy, and that it's extremely important what happens between elections. I agree that in the electoral process, the people of India will get to exercise their franchise freely. The question is, once they have done so, what is going to be the way in which they're treated? Will they be given the freedums they're entitled to?
Yeah.
Will their phones be snooped on?
The
Will
session is,
that
the session
answer
is
has
over.
already
You
been
guys,
given.
you guys have to stop now. Radhika, we need an hour.
Thank you very much, gentlemen. This was certainly a match of equals.
Ideas of India. ये है Ideas of India.
ABP Networks, Ideas of India.